had to have it on there, but then it was like, I'm fighting 2 batteries dying. This is a bit like...
I've got my phone plugged in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, look at you, Mr. Prepper. I'm charging my electronic devices.
Yeah.
Twat. Well, yeah, weird week.
Yeah.
Weird, strange, odd week. Yeah, we think we started it. It's episode 240, I think. Yeah, episode 240. You know, we're on YouTube. If you're listening to us, we got faces. Give us a like and a subscribe. Why not? We're on audio, wherever you listen to audio, pretty much. Figure it out yourself. And we're on social media, which is active again. Like, there's things happening on it. Might not be relevant, but it is relevant, but it might not be. It's kind of an in-joke thing, I think.
It's a bit relevant.
Bit relevant. And yeah, so Instagram and Facebook mainly, and then, Twitter's getting the odd shout when we're doing like highlights and video announcements, stuff like that. But I've gone off Twitter. Just like trying to schedule stuff manually. Twitter is horrible. Like,
it's garbage.
I mean, just something stupid is if I want to schedule a post for Friday, Twitter doesn't tell you what day of the week. When you schedule it up, it just comes up with numbers, and you're like, well, yeah, I can find it out.
You have to go to your phone to find out what day that number is corresponding
It won't
to.
open up a calendar. It just opens up a drop down of numbers. You're like, I want this tweeted on the 8th, I think, and then you have to check to see what date it is. And I'm like, it's pain in the ass.
Stupid.
Yeah, and I think exactly. Just open up a calendar. I just want to select a date that's got a day on it. But Twitter's been annoying, and just for managing profiles, I'm like, I don't think I could manage a third one. And I figured out that Facebook and Instagram are now linked effectively if you use Facebook Business Suite.
So if you publish on Facebook, it publishes on Twitter.
You can... There's like a section of Facebook that allows you to post to both. On Instagram. Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so before, Instagram was a complete ball ache to upload videos to because it was just stupid. They were like... export it on your PC, then email it to your phone, and then upload it from your phone to go fuck yourself. And I was like, again, 10 minutes. I was meant to make 10 minutes, and I said someone to go fuck themselves. Yeah. But it's fine. So, yeah, Facebook and Instagram are kind of quite easy to manage, so I'm just doing those for now. Doing some promotional videos, promotional for the channel more than particular episodes, I think.
I understood the references. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much you get it if you don't listen.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I mean by like they're not necessarily relevant to like most people. We don't get that many listeners are going to get it, but I enjoy making them.
But that's the main thing with social media, isn't it? Fuck everyone else. It's just about you.
Yeah,
social.
Just like, there you go. Well, there's going to be like I'm going to do a few more different things, but there's highlights for when this comes out. Last week's episode, they're back up and running again with stingers. And stuff like that. And then, gonna do a few more throughout the week. And then I've started again publishing the news articles.
I kept getting notifications from the post you were putting up that my nephew liked them. I was like, I'm not sure you should be liking this.
Why does he understand the in-reference jokes?
I don't think he understands them. He just likes them. Oh, great.
It's good to have a young teenager, or I can't remember how old he is. He's a werewolf, isn't he? Yeah. And he's just like, oh, this is good. I hope you keep going.
He's in high school now, mate. So,
what's high school? Is that like 13?
Secondary. Yeah.
It's like 13, something like that. But it's there's promo videos for the channel. I think there's better ones. I started off just kind of doing them, and it was just kind of trying to be proactive. And then I was like, oh, I've got this service. Oh, we were copyrighted as well, copyright claimed. Sorted those. Apparently, it's a YouTube problem.
Was that about the bees?
Yeah. But like I chased that down and was like, oh yeah, it's just a YouTube thing. Just tell them who's got the license and you should be fine. Right. So all that kind of jazzy shit. But yeah, the social media accounts are now active again. So Facebook is Pulling Teeth Podcast and Instagram is Pulling Teeth Pod. And then Twitter as well. But Instagram, because I'm uploading loads of video, it feels like it's kind of lost on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's like there's no library of tweets that you can go through all the videos. I don't really know what
Twitter's good for.
Apparently it's good for like text messaging other people. So it's like, you know, if you bump into somebody, they might tweet you instead of text you or Facebook Messenger you. I think that's what it's for. But like all of the stuff that you're meant to use it for when starting out, which is like, oh, put all these hashtags in all these groups. I'm like, I really couldn't give a fuck about any of those anymore.
No.
Like even like Facebook forums that are like, post your episode this week. You can be one of 200 comments. You're like, there's no point. I'm not going to be asked to post in that and think about planning to post it in there. It's go fuck yourself. do a hashtag. If I'm this is the only way I can do it. So it's like, well, I'll just do it this way. Yeah. It's an active account. If you find it and you like us, there'll be lots of relevant stuff. If you find it and you don't know who we are, you might get an idea of who we are.
I don't think, thinking back, I don't think I've ever encountered a less productive group of people than the people on those fucking podcast groups. Like, they spend all day talking about doing stuff. Fucking thousands of them. Like, just talking about, like, getting started or doing stuff and what's the best way to do this. And none of them ever fucking done anything.
Well, it's the people look into it for weird reasons. And I get that, you know, maybe it's a luxury that we've got spare time, or we had spare time and were able to put some money into getting equipment and stuff. But like, I see loads of posts that are like, I don't want to do this unless I get a really big audience.
So what's the point?
Yeah, you got it. Well, I think you're just doing it for different reasons. Like I said, I'm active on the social media account, but I don't give a fuck if you see it or not. I'm just happy that every now and then it pops up. Oh, that's a stupid advert, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
And if there's someone else who's got a similar sense of humour, they'll enjoy it. But not cared about like, I've got to get this. It's got to be BBC friendly, or it's got to be picked up by a network. No. Or it's like, no, it's just do what you enjoy, and then see what happens with it.
It goes back to that shit we were saying last week about people who go about like, who put limitations on themselves of being like, well, this is the right way to do things and this is the wrong way to do things. When it's like, it's completely irrelevant if you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
the people who in those groups that are like, well, really, you should edit out every breath and every pause and keep it to like a concise sort of like 30 to 45 minutes. Otherwise, people get bored. People get bored if you're boring.
Yeah.
Like, that's all.
I mean, I think the way that I look at it is it's step one. Just focus on doing step one. And step one is, what do you enjoy? Start doing it. With these promo videos I've been doing that are just like stock footage. Some of them are already templates, which is what I find the easiest and kind of the most funny. Is there's a template for like a cleaning company. I think there was one. And it had like messages about like, oh, it's spring's coming, why don't you clean? I was like, well, if I just change the words, keep the music, and turn it into some woman burning her children, I'm like, I find that funny.
That's pretty much us.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, that's step one, is just doing something. And then then back in mind, you're like, well, stock footage, it would be quite funny if I made my own stock footage and then made promo videos from stock footage of me. Just doing things and then turning into something. It's like, that could be quite a laugh. And then it turns into, well, then you could get more serious with it. You could make like really professional commercials. You could do that. And then it starts to grow and do a little bit more as you start chasing what you enjoy. So just fucking focus on step one instead of like, well, I'm not going to bother recording a podcast if I've got to breathe in between the words. Like, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
No one will listen to that. You go, no, just...
It's 2021. Yeah.
Just step one, mate. Just go forth and do things that you enjoy. So yeah, that was a tangent, but yeah, social media. If we're on there, if you want to check us out.
Yeah, at Pulling Teeth Pod.
Yes, and then Pulling Teeth Podcast on Facebook, and then Twitter's Pulling Teeth Pod, I think as well. Yeah. Instagram, shit like that. How are you, Steve? How's it going, chum?
Good. Not a lot changed since last week. I voted today. Did you vote? Is there voting in your area?
No idea. No. I've been told to vote.
But they were calling it Super Thursday. I was like, what? What is that? Well, it's when you vote for things that you normally don't give two fucks about, but today, because they're the only things you can vote for, they're very important. It's like, what are you talking about?
Is it like some police thing?
Yeah, like in our area, it was like the Police and Crime Commission. It's like, well, is he going to uphold the law? Yeah. Well, then I don't care who does it.
Is Judge Dredd running? If he is, he's got my vote.
Yeah. Can he change the law? No. Then why does it matter who does it? Like, just pick the guy that's good, that's the best at the job, or whatever.
Well, you're the most informed person, right? Joe Public is going to be the person who should vote on who becomes the law, right?
Yeah,
like
I
not
think
like researchers or statisticians or their colleagues or anything like that.
Well, I don't understand why the person that's doing the whole crime commission in a particular area has got a political affiliation. Like, privately, like, fair enough, but like, yeah, because today it was like, well, you can vote for this guy who's the representative of the Labour Party, or this one who's a Lib Dem, or this one that's a Conservative, and this one's of the Reform Party. I was like, well,
that is odd.
Yeah, it's like, they're all upholding the same laws. I don't understand what's going on.
Saying that they're political implies that they're going to affect political change. You're like, no, you're just a police person.
Yeah.
Be the police.
You tell the policeman what to... Maybe it affects how you talk to the other policeman. Do you do
like
a nice voice or a nasty voice? So you...
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But, so I went and voted today. I'm sure I fully understood what I was voting for by the sounds of it. But not a lot else eventful this week. I can't remember the last time we recorded. Was it the
last
weekend?
Thursday?
Oh, it was. It has been a week.
Has been a week, yeah.
Oh, time flies. We had bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was an absolute washout, so we didn't really fucking do anything.
Because of the rain on Monday, or washout as in you overdosed or something.
Was it only raining on Monday? So it was raining all weekend here.
Oh, it was beautiful weather Saturday and Sunday for me.
Oh no, man! Like rain all day for fucking 4 days. It was horrific.
It rained so hard on Monday, the power went out in my district.
That's a lot of rain.
Yeah, and try to find out what happened, and then you look online and they're like, oh yeah, it might be fixed in about 5 hours. You're like, wow.
What?
Like, I get it. Like, you can't fight Mother Nature. Like, she's fucked you up. Whatever. I assume is what happened, because loads of different places in the Midlands, like west to east, were all affected. So it's like, oh, something got fucked up by a tree or something. Like, you can't.
I guess
be angry about it.
Innit? You just put some towels by the door.
Nah, but like trees, small children, all that kind of stuff flying around, probably floating down river.
Yeah, I remember one of the best days ever while I was in primary school. We got to go home early because it was in the middle of winter and the power went out, so there was no heating and no anything. And it was like, it was like midday, and then we found out why we went home earlier on. It was like a swan flew into the power lines and just like exploded.
Yeah,
and it took out all the power for Newcastle for like half a day. One swan,
one pissed off non-voting swan.
Yeah, one jihadi swan.
Just didn't want to do it anymore. Fuck it.
So like fairly uneventful. However, I have started a new habit this week that I think is a positive one, and not in a piss taking kind of way, in a good way. I've tried to start writing every day, like in any sense. At the minute, it's just kind of stream of consciousness stuff, and the aim, like the only aim I've got is write at least 100 words. And it's kind of turned into like 1,000 words a day, which is without really kind of thinking about it, just because I found that once you get past that initial kind of 100 words, it all just kind of starts to turn into a bit of a flow state. You sort of get momentum. But if I can, as long as I can hit that 100 words, then it's not considered like a failure. So it's kind of encouraging at the same time. And I think it's going hopefully to actually lead me to making more stuff and to being more productive artistically, because I think writing seems to be at the core of everything that I want to do, but it's the one thing that I'm kind of not doing. Like, I always want to make stuff, but it's that thing of, I don't know what to make, but I'm not actually putting the blocks in place to actually start making things, which is always scripting and writing and kind of idea generation and stuff.
Or just trying to, it's that first step of just trying to formulate an idea into a paragraph. Of like, so long as it's an idea of I've always wanted to kind of do this, but you don't think it through anymore, as in you don't even write it down, it still becomes like an ethereal thing. As soon as you put it on paper, you're like, oh, that starts the creative process, definitely.
Yeah,
I've done exactly the same thing, to be fair, this week. There was a breaking point. I've got an addictive personality, and I think I figured out why I don't really give a fuck about social media is because I had like computer games to do. So it's like, why would I give a fuck if somebody liked my post on Instagram if I can blow someone up with a tank? And I'm blowing up people, fighting dinosaurs and ripping people's heads off. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. And then
dopamine.
You go to social media, you're like, why isn't anybody exploding into 1,000 pieces because of landmines or something? I don't know. This is boring. But it's a big time sink potentially. Video games, especially with me. So like I decided this month to be like because there was no my dopamine fell down, tapered out because there was no new game to play, and I was looking for a game and I couldn't find one. I was like, I've always said I should stop for like a period, see what happens. And then with that came also like trying to stop Netflix. So I was like, because like I'd have it if I'm not doing something specific like work or editing, then I'm not I'm usually got something in the background running, which is good, but again there was nothing new to watch. So I was rewatching series I've seen 7 times, and it was like I've seen it, I still got a dopamine effect because it's still entertaining in some way, but there's better things, there's other things I need to be doing with my time. So it's like, if I remove all that, what should I do? And then there was writing every day, and then just trying to be more productive, hence more social media, more editing, and then promotional videos and all that kind of stuff, to be like, right, if I just don't have that, what do I do? Now, one of the problems, right, is I play a lot of survival games. So that's like, one of them was like, you're a prisoner on an island. You've got to, craft weapons and I houses and stuff like that, and forage and survive. So then I started kind of like Ark. Ark was one of them, and then there's loads. There's like Conan and Scum and Space Engineers and all these other games that are basically the same thing. But because I'm used to doing that all the time, I started watching YouTube videos on stealth camping, which is illegally camping in public areas.
Oh, in like a bivvy bag.
What's a bivvy bag?
Is that what they're called? I think they're called bivvy bags. It's like a sleeping bag that's a tent.
Oh, maybe. Or this guy, there's loads of people who do it apparently, but they just try and do it while evading the law, which is quite funny because the law never really seems to be chasing them. No. But like he's like asleep, he's trying to sleep in an abandoned petrol station. He hears a noise outside, and it's like just a moth like wandering around, but he's like, someone's outside. And my brain's just like, that's kind of like the video. I could start doing this.
Yeah.
Just start sleeping in places. just waiting, and then be like, fuck, I've got to get the fuck out of Dodge because I shouldn't be here. Yeah. It's like a guy like slept in a sewer, and he was like, I'm pretty sure, I definitely know I'm not supposed to be here. I'll get arrested if I'm here. Yeah. It's like, you're in a sewer, mate. Chill out. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're doing it for an objective, like hunting Steve for sport, I'm all game. But if you're just doing it for a laugh, then you need to figure out a bit more. But so a little bit of stealth camping was a bit interesting, and then that led down the surviving in the woods, eating, what was it, like strawberry flowers to live, and then like how to fight off a black bear. And I'm just like, well, I can't travel at the moment. I don't even have a passport, so I probably won't go to British Columbia to test my natural prowess.
Yeah, plus you've got to try and hide your dog at the same time, and I'm pretty sure your dog would take on a black bear.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, she takes on the post all the time. So the post and black bears probably have the same mating call, right? I don't know. But stopping fucking video games and Netflix is genuine withdrawal for the first couple of days of like, I should just have something. I've that now is dedicated free time. I can now go and zong out and just pop something on or play something for a little while, and then that'll be most of my evening. So trying to get over that just by sitting down and doing stuff has been interesting, but good and healthy. And then writing, same thing.
Yeah.
Wrote out. There's another YouTube show that I want to do that's similar to because I've always said that this show is like the step one, I guess, of like we find stuff that we find funny and chat about doing creative projects, and then the idea is we go forth and we do them. There's like a show that I think a news show I mentioned a little while ago as well, that could be based off of articles we've spoken about or things we've spoken about, and turn it into some kind of other shortened show. So I've been writing stuff like that. It's been good. So writing I think is a better use of time. It's all about growing up, Steve.
Yeah, is that what the Maroon's about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a fleece every now and then.
Yeah.
But I've never worn it as casually as I'm currently wearing it. This feels very adult.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah. So I was like, well, might as well. It's genuine. I'm just riffing on that. It's a genuine decision of like, it's time to grow up. I'll wear this fleece more often.
It's just the move the rock thing again, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I've got to grow up. Fleeces.
Yeah, fleeces are where it begins.
Yeah.
But no, in terms of like, trying to live in a world where the free time you have needs to be working towards something, as opposed to killing time until you have something that you have to do.
Yeah.
You can be like, no, it's like, if podcasting was a part-time job, which is what I've somewhat experienced this week, because if I've got free time, I'm doing social media stuff, which means I'm seeing more articles, which means I have way too many articles this week. But it's productive. It's like that time I've spent has meant that I've got more stuff here, instead of just being like, I'm just gonna do nothing today. Be like, nice. Grown-up style is you need to do something that progresses your life forward.
Yeah.
So writing and doing shit so that when stand-up comes back along, you can dive into that a bit more head first.
Yeah, it's good to have something. I don't know. What I found is it's taking things sort of off my mind, leaving space for new things, if that makes sense. Like so so I'll have kind of like a thought or like an idea of just like a brief kind of philosophy of something, and less, but I never really develop it, and because I don't develop it, I just have that one line, and it just kind of like churns over and over and over in my head. Yeah. And then it over time it fades and morphs into something else and just disappears, and it's like, well, I don't know if what I was thinking would have been any use to anybody, myself included, but it would have been good to kind of like have it out and kind of like think about it a little bit more. And
even if it's just to flex that muscle, that specific creative muscle.
And like the one thing that I've always had is that like I'll go and watch some kind of like musician, or I'll see some like amazing film or video or just anything, and be like, that's ace, I want to make something. And then I'll sit down like inspired to make something, and all of the flex of that muscle is just gone, because I spend so much time thinking about putting something into action and producing something, and not enough time actually doing it. So I know the technical side of it, the technique. I know how to mechanically do something, like with all the film stuff and everything like that, and I can do that to a pretty high standard. But it's the actual kind of creative side of it that I don't feel like I use that muscle often enough. So a lot of this this habit is or that I'm trying to develop is to do with getting comfortable staring at a blank page every day, and then kind of like going from there and seeing where it takes me, because I think traditionally that's something that frightens a lot of creatives. It's something that they shy away from, at least, like the idea of an empty page. It's something that kind of crops up in a lot of things, and it's like, well, it'd be good if I could turn that into something I could look forward to, like what's going to come out today, almost kind of like get excited by it. I think that'd be that's a good way to kind of start to start to almost become force yourself to become prolific, in a sense.
Well, it's just starting productiveness, right? And I think what you've described is step one, right? It's just, well, when you've come down to do something, you've been thinking about the technical side of it and how you're going to shoot it and all that kind of stuff, and that's further down the line. That's like step 3, 4, 5. Meanwhile, step one is just sitting there. And I think the mental side of it is you go, as soon as I start step one, then I'm committed in some way. Your brain's like, well, if I do step one, then it's loads of other stuff after that. And you go, yeah, but that's a good thing. Your brain just, you get so used to it being like, I know this is what I want to do, but I don't want to start. And you go, yeah, but why? I don't know. There's just a feeling that I don't. And you go, no, you obviously do. You need to turn that upside down. And then as soon as you start step one, everything else comes into play. I mean, that's the thing I noticed about social media this week is, like, I spend 2 minutes on these promotional videos, and it's like I could make it better, I could do more, but I'm flexing that muscle of like, well, I'm doing something and I'm kind of getting the idea of what the theme of it is, so everyone that comes out, they get a little bit better, and you're just working that muscle. So while it maybe this week, we're like, I don't think people will get it, or I don't know if it's it's necessarily something to flood the Instagram feed with, but you go like, but if they're improving all the time, eventually I'll figure out what it is and then be able to do something with it afterwards, whether it continues or whether it grows into something else. So yeah, definitely on board with. I think that's the best way I could describe it. Is step one needs to be initiated. Yeah, and whether it's freeing yourself a distraction, if that's having the Word document up and flashing empty in front of you, or if that's just having nothing else to do with dedicated empty time to be like, I need to do something. Yeah, all right, I need to initiate.
A lot of my downfall historically with the whole creative process is acting upon when inspiration strikes, whatever form it takes, as opposed to just acting regardless of inspiration. Like there was a quote, I can't remember the writer that said it, but it was in that
I know what you mean,
the War of Art book that was like, I only write when inspiration hits me. Luckily, it hits me at 9:00 every morning, and it's that idea of kind of like, no, I sit down to write. My brain says we're writing now, and you just start. And that's all. And if I can get myself kind of into that state and producing regularly, I'd feel less fraudulent about calling myself a creative.
Yeah. I mean. And I think that's the goal of this podcast, right? So I think maybe we used to have like a breakdown of stuff that we wanted to do or stuff that we were thinking about doing. Maybe there's a point where we can measure that a little bit more in order to motivate without it being too committal. Yeah. Because there's a side of like, oh, if we do a minute month, we'll do it every month. We did it for a month and a half, and then it kind of fell off. You go like, that's because maybe it was too stringent and maybe it was too big. Maybe this is just a platform to be like, step one, what's the step one this week? What's the step one that you need to start doing? That's the goal of, that's what I'm thinking about doing at the moment, is doing that. Maybe we could do something like that.
Well, I think the thing is, thinking back to the minute month thing, is that I don't think what we were doing was at all unfeasible. It's just that in order to do it, I was falling back on the same old habits, which is, oh fuck, it's due tomorrow, best make something. Yeah. Whereas the difference now is trying to kind of like put some kind of structure, even aimless structure, into that process every day. So like so I'm not just kind of like putting pen to paper once I've got an idea. I'm just doing it regardless, and then the idea comes through that. Yeah, it was. I think Rogan was talking about it as well. It's like he'll often like write with like just pure stream of consciousness, just like thousands and thousands of words. And within that, most of what he's writing, he'll say is like crap. But there might just be the odd line that kind of like resonates in some way or outlines an idea, and then it gives him something to develop. But if all you ever do is think about it without putting any pen to paper, then in all likelihood you won't do anything, and an idea won't come, because again, you're not working your brain.
Well, Well, the thing is, you don't know what you think. If it's just a thought, you don't understand the thought. Like, the example I always give on the show is like, I used to hate One Direction. I didn't know why. And then one day I sat down and really thought about it, which is like going through it all and be like, I actually hate this specific thing about the industry and how, people are, the art of music is cheapened and it's like that, and it's like, but it's not really about the band and it's not about that. But the thought I had was, I don't like One Direction, and I may have written 10,000 words on it, but then I realized, oh no, it's just I hate that it's cheapened. That's it in a nutshell. It's just cheapened music. You go, no, I feel bad for the people who think this is music because it's fake. It's not going to continue. But that's all. Even if all you do is understand your own thought, it's progress, and then that can be developed and kind of grow a little bit more. But I want to do more creative stuff, and I've started doing some more creative stuff. It's always weird when one of us starts doing creative stuff, I find. But like this news thing that I want to do, obviously more than happy to do it together, even if it's I was gonna try and sort out a drink at some point. We were gonna do it over bank holiday, but then I couldn't read and then forgot. Like, I think you said you messaged me saying you're free in the afternoon but out in the evening. Yeah. And I read that as you're free in the evening but out in the afternoon.
Oh, right.
And then it became the evening, and I was like, oh, and he said something about he wants to spend time with his wife. So I was like, I'll just leave him to it.
Oh, that was I was over most of the weekend. I was planning on gardening, and we got a little bit done on Friday, and then it all just went to shit. Yeah. But no, I figured you weren't that we weren't doing anything because it was throwing it down, but evidently in Stoke it was really nice.
It was beautiful. But no, I was trying to organise a drink last week, so you can still, if you're doing, we can sort something out after the call or whatever. But doing how much time you have for creative stuff, because there was a point where when things were in the air, you weren't sure how much creative time you had for hobby stuff as opposed to professional stuff. But even if I'm able to do a show that is new every week and can have segments on it, then that could give you the freedom of being like, I can do something this week, but if I can't do something next week, okay. But I get the feeling if I put together a show that is I can never remember how you call your job title, videographer. If it was videographically really good, I think that might crumble your world, and I'm quite happy about that. I think that'd be quite cool. Like, if it's edited together on a professional level, and you're like, how did you do this? That might spark also creative things, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like, I think you'd genuinely be pissed.
I don't think I'd be pissed off. It'd be nice after
like a really good transition. You'd be like, oh, how did he do that? I'd be like, I don't know. I just got it off a website, but I could be like, it could spark the possibilities. You know what I mean?
I'd be intrigued as to why you gave so much of a fuck, because most of the time in the past you haven't.
Yeah, well, there's an art to not giving a fuck, I think. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to think about this when I was. Because the reason these articles work on the show is because it's a genuine conversation. Yeah. And we're loosely talking about it. As soon as I was like, I could do it in news format and it's all going to be scripted, it was like, well, then you're taking it seriously, and then it changes the whole atmosphere. It's really weird. Yeah. So like, by having a casual attitude towards something, I think there's an art to that as well, maybe. But I think, I want to do more creative stuff. I'm going to do more creative stuff. You're welcome to join as full-time or part-time as you want. We can figure something out, even if it is just like an odd segment you want to throw together, and it could be like a independent thing as well as, hey, you put it on news show or whatever. Yeah, could be quite fun. Writing every day. That's what you've been doing. Yeah, it's good. Any more bullet points from the Steve world?
No, nothing.
No, I've talked about stealth camping and lust for blood, I guess. No, I'll keep that out of it. But just freeing myself of vices that would soak up my time it's led me to do a bit more creative stuff, even if it is just bullshit promotional adverts, stuff like that. But I've been on social media, so I get my articles from social media, so there's a fuck ton of articles, but we'll see what we go through. A Japanese man has been accused of dating 35 women at the same time to get hundreds of pounds worth of birthday presents.
Accused?
Accused!
Well, did he or didn't he?
He's been arrested.
Arrested?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Why?
Takashi. Why? He's been dating 35 women for financial gain.
Are you not allowed to?
Apparently not. Takashi Miyagawa, 39, allegedly gave different dates for his birthday. So that's fraud, isn't it? To each of his potential partners.
It's not fraud. It's just lying.
I was born in March. No, you weren't. Go to prison. Oh.
I'm not like shouting his praises or anything, but it's like, why is he in prison?
Well, this is why you got to vote for your local police super person, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He is said to have received cards and presents totalling £668, including a £200 suit.
Shut him in with the paedophiles.
The women eventually realised his scam and formed a victims association before going to police in February.
Christ almighty. A victims association. What a sad group. Victims of what? Victims of an arsehole? Like he didn't.
He's just.
You're not victims.
And wasn't it like
if someone lies
women?
to you, that doesn't make you a victim.
Well, it's 35, and I guess let's think about it, right? I've been dating in the past. I would say on average, you'd probably see each other at least once a week. 35 people. Like, that's maybe once a month if you double up.
Yeah, if anything, like, good on him for keeping up the lie, because, like, I've seen people struggle, like, juggling, like, 2 or 3 people, let alone 35.
35.
And Japan's, I mean, it's an island. Like, they'll find each other eventually. But apparently they'll all find each other and form a committee.
Victims Association.
Victims Association.
They took it to the police. He has now been arrested on suspicion of fraud. So yeah, I don't understand fully. Like,
so at some point,
contractual agreement.
Yeah, at some point you can earmark people's generosity as fraud. I guess if you were claiming to be a charity or something in that instance, but if you're just a dude pretending it's your birthday, like I'm not sure.
But when dating, right? If somebody refuses to pay for their meal, then they expect you to pay for it. Do you go to the police?
No.
Like, the drinks are on me. What? The drinks? We're gonna go Dutch, right? We're gonna halve it. I'm going to police. So it seems strange, but fair enough. Send him to the dogs, whatever it is. But yeah, so he's been arrested. In other news, a mum has claimed she's been flagged as a potential terrorist after jokingly sending a bank transfer called "Funds for ISIS" to her horse trainer, who trains her horse ISIS. So she wasn't just being like, wouldn't it be funny if I said funds for ISIS? No, it's funds to train her horse, who is named ISIS.
So it's genuine.
Well, I think she knew it was cheeky, but she was like, fuck it, might as well. Well, sounds funny, but it's true.
It's true. I can explain it away. It won't get me on a no-fly list at all.
No, she's a terrorist. The 57-year-old had innocently pinged over the cash to cover the cost of horse boot camp for 9-year-old Arabian horse ISIS.
Now, why did you call your horse ISIS?
Well, it is a real name, isn't it? Like, it's I think it's an Egyptian name or an ancient Egyptian name. Okay. Like, there's a dog in the not Downing Street. It was the show Upstairs Downstairs, but the new one. Downton Abbey. There's a dog in Downton Abbey called Isis.
Okay.
And then there was an ISIS dog in the Dam Busters. Oh no, that was like a racial slur. It's all the same.
Yeah.
No, but ISIS I think is a genuine name. But yeah, they go on. The ancient Egypt fanatic Susan failed to spot the issue with her wording. It was a long article and I've summed it up. I'm pretty sure she did know what she was doing. Red-faced Susan, who previously owned horses called Pharaoh and Nefertiti, says she was forced to explain to PayPal and Interpol that she was paying for her horse's training and not funding terrorism. It's always a good phone call, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to pay for horse training, and now I'm talking to Scotland Yard.
Yeah. No, I'm in prison with a serial dating guy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, what people funding ISIS are sending bank transfers to ISIS that read funds for ISIS?
But this the thing. Would you remember there was a thing about a while ago about like some bloke got put on a no-fly list because he accidentally checked the box "I am involved in a terror organization."
Oh yeah,
on his like flight documentation or something like that.
Yeah, and it took him months to get it removed or something.
Yeah, but in the same breath, you got to go, who's ticking that box? And if they did tick that box, what the airline's meant to go? It's probably fine.
Yeah.
Like, no, they've got a duty to react to it. They've got to take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it's just, should the question be there? And you go, well, we asked them if they were terrorists.
I think it's there because I'm guessing it's there for like a legal purpose. In that there is a signed document where you said you weren't a terrorist.
You promise?
So if we get the slightest sniff of you being a terrorist, then we can sue you for something and put you away. It's probably there as a safeguard for something.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it makes some sense, but yeah, that was odd. It was odd because you could see the guy afterwards when he's talking to the police and be like, and go through his whole history, and he's still like having trouble convincing them that he's not a terrorist.
But like, have you ever had like a conversation with somebody and something slipped out and it's changed your whole opinion about everything, and then they try to act like it never happened? Like that. I've had situations like that where like someone's been a bit too real about their emotional state. You know, like someone's like, I'm really, really addicted to Cocoa Pops. How's it going? You'd be like, what, Cocoa Pops? What's the deal? Oh, no, and you're like, no, I now know you're a terrorist. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I know you're trying. It just slipped out. I know, but now I know. Now it's awkward.
Yeah, but you don't get a Freudian slip while you're writing.
You could. Just ticking a box. But oh yeah, am I a terrorist? I mean, yeah, of course I am. Should I have done that? And then you forget about something and you come back to it. Oh, it's probably fine. Maybe it's worked.
What are those people? Oh, it's completely fallen off my fucking head. The guys that keep saying inappropriate things. They can't stop swearing, and it's like an impulse. Yeah. Can you get Tourette's with writing? So like you see the wrong action and your brain goes tick it, and you just tick it.
I don't know. I reckon it's not, because it feels like too deliberate and too long.
Yeah.
An act. Do you know what I mean? Like I love Tourette's is fascinating to me, but it really is like it's just that part of your brain that says you can't do that.
Yeah.
In a vocal thing, I think this kind of says it and has a joy in saying different words. So I think it'd be different if you were writing, but like. I mean, they probably ask the question, right? Vocally as well in some situations, and some people say yes.
But there is a thing with actions, though. Like there was, there's a TikTok thing that I follow, and I think it's called Tourette's Dad, and it's like it's him and his kids doing like everyday stuff, but he's got Tourette's, and it forces him to do weird stuff. So like it's celebrating his kid's birthday, and you can see him like several times, like kind of like lunge a bit towards his kid, and someone pulls him back, and finally he does it again, and they can't grab him, and he shoves his kid's head into the birthday cake. Yeah. But it's like it's all really genuine, and like and he does, and it's done to kind of like raise awareness of this thing, I assume that could make you tick a box.
Yeah, maybe. It just feels like an energy release, and I'm not sure how much that would be, but I'm sure it could potentially be the case, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, even if it's not, then people are going to audibly say yes. I mean, did you ever go to France as a kid?
No.
No, I used to go to France on like school trips and stuff, and it was always funny to kind of say that we were smuggling vegetables.
Right.
Like, because then the customs officer has to take it seriously. They have to look in the boot. There's that little thing. It's like, no, just don't say it. You're like, yeah, but, and the border guy's like, I know you're joking, but now technically I have to check.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. So I think it's the same Same kind of deal. I can understand if someone has declared themselves a terrorist or said they're funding ISIS. Someone has to look into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As an avid fan of Egypt, Susan has been to, has been to Sharm el-Sheikh a couple of times, and ancient Egypt sometimes features in her art. She also has an Egyptian-themed bedroom and has painted a huge eye of Horus over the top of her bed frame. I don't know whether this is meant to incriminate her or just like a bit of fun fact afterwards. The woman who funds ISIS sleeps under a Horus. Oh. Kind of sounds like horse. Why not keep it in the article?
Yeah.
Did you hear about the stampede of Jews?
Oh, vaguely. Yeah, in like
It's
a stadium
so strange.
or something.
No, it's a street festival, I think. I've got like quite a few notes on it. I don't know whether that's the right way of phrasing it. It's so surreal to me that again more people are dying by stampede. But apparently it's what's that football crowd death crush? Hillsborough, the Hillsborough massacre, I think it was called, right?
Yeah,
I think it's, but they're trying to, they think it might be the same kind of deal where it's like a large group of people and it hasn't been managed properly with the gates and people have died because, you know, it was mismanaged. But then you obviously go, yeah, but people crushed you to death, right? They stamped on your face, and you go like, yeah, but you have to assume people are going to do that. So you have to make ways to make sure people don't get clogged up.
From what little I read, it said it was almost like an avalanche of people. Like a couple, it was like a very narrow kind of corridor, kind of stairway kind of thing, but outside. And a couple of people fell, and it tripped the people in front and over and over and over, and
I think it was basically, apparently it was outside, I think, and there was like a ramp, and it was raining, so the ramp got wet. Then some people fell, and then just the crowds are so, as much as you can say you should stop if you see something, when there's a crowd of people moving, there's not much you can do. But stampede of, I'll read it so I get the article's terminology right. They started doing the funerals for the victims of the stampede. 45 people were crushed to death during the Lag Boma event over the slopes of Mount Meron, where annual commemorations including all-night prayers, singing and dancing. I hope they weren't danced on to death in the stampede. Devastated families have been identifying their loved ones and burying them ahead of the Jewish Sabbath that began on Friday evening. Children were amongst those who were killed, which sucks. It's got to turn off this notification. Witnesses spoke of seeing a pyramid of people being asphyxiated or trampled in a passageway around 3 meters wide. So 3 meters wide, that's not too wide. It feels like longer than an average small corridor, but it's a load of people. Yeah. You know, crowds of ultra-Orthodox Jews packed the pilgrimage site despite warnings to maintain social distancing. And the stampede was at 1 a.m. on a Friday. Christ. So people were like early hours, but then I guess I think they said it was all night prayer and dancing, right? So it's probably a late night festival event anyway.
Right.
And then they were kind of leaving. Avigdor Hayut, who survived the stampede, described slipping on the ramp and getting trapped in a crowd with his 2 sons. My son screamed, "I'm dying," he told PV police station Cannes. It just it's not funny that a kid was screaming he was dying, but it's just funny that this guy's like, I need to tell the news. Yeah, my son was screaming, I'm dying. I mean, a policeman tried to pull him and his younger son out of the crowd, but couldn't move them. The policeman then threw up and started crying.
Threw up? That's what you want from a police officer.
Well, I mean, he is watching...
What's going on?
And crying. And trying to save a child who he's witnessing getting crushed to death.
Yeah.
So it's like... The guy's looking for his kid, can't see his kid, but you can see a policeman trying to save his kid, and the policeman's just not having a great time.
No, just vomits, crying everywhere.
Yeah, the policeman threw up, started crying, and I understood what he was looking at, what I couldn't see. Mr. Hayut himself suffered a broken ankle and broken ribs. I thought this was the end, he said, adding that he began to pray and simply waited. So, just accepting their own fate.
Rough.
It's rough. Hours later, in hospital with 10-year-old Shmuel, they learned that his other son, Yedidia, had died. Let me just try and figure out the correct pronunciation of this name. Never mind, he's dead. Witnesses complained that police barricades prevented people from exiting properly. I'm so sorry for the people involved, but it's very strange that. It's sad that in this day and age. I mean, when was the Hillsborough Massacre? Right, it was like 70s, 80s, or something. Right? Early 90s.
Early 90s, maybe late 80s. But
so like 20 years ago, something like that.
30 years at this point, isn't it?
Well, no, if it was early 90s, it would have been like. But yeah. So let's say 20, 30 years ago. It's like it feels like it feels like not too much in the history books. You go like it shouldn't have happened then, but it really shouldn't have happened now, especially when there's social distancing. How likely are you to die in a stampede during a social distance time?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I think Israel, where it happened, I think they lifted regulations like shortly before the festival or something like that.
Yeah, you're not gonna. There's not going to be any kind of global sort of medical information medical thing from scientists in the West that's going to tell Israel how to celebrate like their sacred religious holidays. Like it's just not going to happen.
They did cancel it last year because of pandemic stuff.
Oh, did they?
So like, yeah, I believe, from memory, I believe it was like changed or something like that because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy that the officers who were there couldn't care less, said Velvel Brevda, a rabbi who witnessed the stampede. Well, one was vomiting and crying, so I think he cared a little bit. He blamed the government for the deaths of beautiful holy Jews that were killed there for no reason whatsoever. The Justice Ministry said investigators will look into whether there had been any police misconduct, which I think is organising of the thing.
The government's fault?
Well, if you're going to have a public event, I think the government and the police are responsible for keeping it safe.
Right. Like
street barricades, right?
Right. So maybe like the local government, like we would blame like the council if it's like a town thing.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I guess the police presence needed to be organised.
Yeah, I mean,
with the barricades.
I mean, I guess if it's just like, if it happened at like some kind, I don't know, football, but some kind of cup final or something at Wembley and some shit went down, like you wouldn't blame Boris Johnson.
No. But I think you would blame the police. I think that's weird. They did blame the police for it. I'm not sure whether they blamed the local police. They probably police as a whole. Yeah. But
the new crime commissioner.
Start. Yeah, the super commissioner, whatever he is. But yeah, death by stampede. It's fucking insane. Especially like what was the term? Ultra Orthodox Jews. I don't know much. I know obviously there's loads of stereotypes about, but I don't know that much about the culture. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like the most violent of crowds. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like stereotypically, they don't feel like the most violent. So stamping children to death is pretty intense.
Yeah, stampedes. So,
yes, I mean, not the most eager. Maybe they're really eager people. I don't know.
Maybe.
They really want to get to the front of the crew. It's queue. I don't know.
Sad in The Lion King. Sad in real life.
Just what's his dad called? Simba's dad? I can't remember.
Mufasa.
Oh yeah, Mufasa, but with like ultra orthodox sideburns and I don't know all the terms, but like there's a scarf that's stereotypical with rabbis.
It's just gonna get more offensive if I try and.
Yeah, there was going to be a Holocaust joke in there about something about cramped living conditions, but I thought let's not do it. No, but yeah, it sounds crazy to people that died per stampede, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was in Black Friday sale. You know what I mean? If people died in a stampede in a supermarket during a Black Friday sale, I'd be like, well, yeah, those people are stupid.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, you go like, oh, fair enough. But the fact that it was during religious festival, what was it called? A religious event, the Lag Boma event, like, and by stereotypically quite passive people, feels quite intense. So we'll see what happens with that. That'll be a weird clip. In other news, 2 men have been rescued unharmed after becoming trapped 800 metres underground in a disused mine near Barnard Castle. Peter King from the Cumbrian Ore Mines Rescue Unit of the British Cave Rescue Council.
Yes.
Lots of committees here. Said that people should think twice before attempting to explore underground mines. Yeah. And this again ties into growing up, right? As a kid, I probably would have explored underground an 800-mile mine. 800 meters must be.
800 meters down, is it?
Gone down to an underground mine at the core of the earth.
Yeah. Oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, I'm trapped. But yeah, as a kid, I'd probably be. I was trying to figure out why these people were down there. I was like, why are you doing it? And then you go like, well, okay, it just feels like people are just pissing about and exploring. I probably did exactly the same when I was a kid. Been like, fucking up with buildings and stuff like that. So when I was watching stealth camping, I saw a video of like people just destroying buildings with their bare hands by like chipping away at them with rocks, like abandoned buildings. I was like, oh, I probably did that when I was a kid. Like some level of vandalism. I can understand the youthful idea of I'm so bored. Let's just keep going down this mine.
Yeah.
Getting trapped. I just, as an adult, now as a 33-year-old or whatever, I'm just like, I'm done with mines for now, I think. Just chill out, find a good spot and chill, That's all that article was. I find it funny, there's a British Cave Rescue Council. A council of who we should rescue. Should we rescue them?
A council, like but like not a traditional council, almost like a council of elders in hoods with candlelight. Yeah,
should we rescue Derek and Gary? No, you're right.
Let's slaughter a goat.
Yeah. There's a few short articles this week. That was one of them. Another one is police in Stoke-on-Trent have been carrying out weapons and knives searches at local parks. They're just looking for knives in parks now.
Well, it's cheaper than going and buying one, I suppose.
Cheaper than arresting people, right? I mean, officers from Newcastle Neighbourhood Policing Team staged Newcastle Neighbourhood Policing Team. The police is weird. I think there's different tiers of volunteers, right? You've got like part-time policemen, I think is a thing. Yeah. Then you've got like part-time volunteer paid policemen, and then you've got like fully volunteer non-paid policemen. There's loads of different tiers. So I don't know whether the Neighbourhood Policing Team is like a community thing, because it would make sense if it was a community thing.
Yeah.
Like just people wanting to do something to help out the community.
Yeah.
Let's go to the park and look for knives. Yeah, but we'll go to the park, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be knives at the park.
In Kidsgrove, after concerns had been raised over offences in the area, lots of knife crime in my area. On Friday, April 30th, officers carried out a search of the park in an effort to find any knives and weapons. It comes as part of Staffordshire Police's Ditch the Blade initiative. I think there's been a lot of this in the UK about like knife forfeiture. Because there's so much knife crime, the police are saying, if you come to us with a knife and give it to us, we won't charge you for having the knife. So people have got like samurai swords and like machetes and shit.
Oh, right. So this is people that kind of... I was going to say, like, most people have a knife because they want a knife, not because they want to give it to you. But
but it's like to avoid gang knife crime, right? If they're in a gang and they've been given a knife and it's in their possession, they might be like, what do I do with this? Instead of throwing it away in a bin, the police are like, give it to us, no questions asked, and we'll just destroy it for you. So maybe they think people are throwing these blades and knives in the park. But it feels weird that there's a police search for knives in a park as opposed to people with knives. But if it's a community thing, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Let's cheer things up. A corpse believed to be the leader of a controversial Colorado religious group was found mummified in a sleeping bag, wrapped in Christmas lights, missing its eyes, but with glitter on its face.
That does sound very
Christmassy.
Culty.
Got no eyes. Yeah. What I find weird about this is they think her eyes just evaporated naturally. Well, and the body was only lost for 2 weeks. Was only like dead for 2 weeks.
Well, your eyes do seem pretty perishable compared to the rest of you.
I just never thought of it before, but like I didn't realise that after 2 weeks you had no eyes.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but I just never thought about it before. Because your eyes are mainly liquid, right? I mean, once you pop them, it's only going to be like a time before it seeps out everywhere.
Yeah, they could just dry out.
Yeah, or just once the membrane is decayed enough and all the liquid comes out.
Yeah.
Well, eyes are gone.
Maybe that's why you blink so much, just so you can make sure they're still there.
Yes, you don't become a mummified Christmas corpse. The remains are believed to be of Amy Carlson, 45, known to her followers as Mother God, who was...
Pick one.
Got a bit of an ego on her.
Yeah, are you God or are you a mother?
Mother God. I am the mother of God.
I suppose Christian God is father, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, that's Daddy God and I'm Mummy God.
Yeah, it's not Father God, it's God the Father.
Yeah.
And I think Mother God is I'm God's mother. Feels like, you know what I mean?
Like Mother Goose.
Yeah, but of deities. She was a self-proclaimed divine being from the group
Really?
Love Has
Not
Won.
a real one?
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed. I'm self-certifying as a god.
Yeah, I don't need eyes. What are you talking about? The group was called Love Has Won. The group has been branded by law enforcement as a cult. The investigation into the corpse led to the arrest of 7 members of the group on various charges, including child abuse. I mean, obviously that must be unrelated to the corpse, right? Yeah, because she was 45, and abuse of a corpse, but no one's been charged for her death. Abusing a corpse. I mean, they just put glitter on it and wrapped it in Christmas lights, right? Oh, they mummified it. I don't know to what extreme they mummified it. You know what I mean? Maybe like you fill it with sawdust or something. You harvest organs and replace it with something, I think, when you mummify something, right?
Yeah,
you fucked up shit.
You embalm them.
Really? Is that mumming?
I think they
is embalming
them, didn't they? In Egypt, they did. But I guess you can mummify someone just by sort of wrapping them up.
I think embalming feels weird because you need a motor, because you're basically pumping embalming fluid around their veins.
Well, I thought they
maybe
embalmed them in Egypt, but I don't know if maybe they just like soaked them in a solution or something.
Yeah, dip them in a bit of Pritt stick or something.
Yeah,
keep them together. The Sagwash County Sheriff's Office found the body on Wednesday after receiving a tip from a suspected member of the group.
Christ,
I like. You know, like what's that, like Quoth the Raven or something like that? And it's
Edgar
like
Allan Poe.
Yeah, and it's like I think there's like a body under the floorboards or something. And it's
the Telltale Heart.
Oh yeah, I'm mixing up Simpsons episodes here.
Yeah,
but yeah. So the Telltale Heart is like they bury a body underneath the floorboards, and like the thought of the body drives them insane, where they have to confess.
Yeah,
I just like that instead of a creepy thing under the floorboards, it's just flashes of like their mother god wrapped in Christmas lights and glitter, and be like, I have to tell somebody. Because they probably didn't see it without her eyes. There's just like, it's just a dead body wrapped in badly wrapped Christmas lights and a bit of glitter. That'll be fine, won't it?
Yeah.
The affidavit said that Mr. Lamboy said it was obvious that Mrs. Carlson was dead because her eyes were missing. So I think this is like the police on the scene.
I mean, like, that's discriminatory against people who've got no eyes.
Did you bother taking
that
a
guy's
pulse?
got no eyes. He must be dead. No, I'm just blind. Like,
I just had an unfortunate accident as a child. I'm fine.
No eyes, no life.
I wrapped in Christmas lights. Stated the body appeared to be mummified with her teeth exposed through her lips.
What?
Body was found in headquarters. Coulson was deemed to be dead for weeks, and her body might have been taken to Colorado from Oregon. Oh, maybe she had like a dead trip. Well, she's a god, isn't she? She can do what she wants.
Yeah.
Love Has Won has not announced the death of its leader, but one of its members posted an encrypted message that said she hasn't passed away, she's ascended.
Like Jesus.
Like Jesus' grandma.
So, wrap her in Christmas, and on the third day...
take out her eyes, or let her eyes deflate.
Yeah. You'll come back, and Christmas is gone.
Yeah. I understand a good cult, to be fair. Like, it just fills that hole that people so desperately want to be led, and so desperately want to be told what to do. Because it alleviates step one from people's lives. But they just go, well, I've been told to do this, so I'll just do this, and I'm getting more orders, and that's fine, because I know what I'm doing now. There's
also so much of who we are as people that's led or defined by a group, by the people we surround ourselves with. And there's so much fear about being left out. I think I used to have it maybe a bit when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, it's just like I'm fairly independent.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like, I enjoy the conflict with the group more than I enjoy being a part of it. And the conflict, like, through sort of through just questioning things, not like looking for a fight.
Yeah.
But like,
well,
yeah.
as well as there being a negative in terms of like people don't think for themselves, there's just another thing of people just accept things that are maybe unacceptable. I mean, or they believe things just because their society believes it. I mean, the whole thing is, Americans, cutting baby penises and having people getting shot in school is like, well, it's just that's just how it is. And, if it's just told to you enough, you accept it as it's kind of fine. This is just the world we live in. And it's much more, I've always been a bit more of like, it's to challenge that and be like, well, are you willfully accepting that? Are you saying that that's fine, or are you just going along with it? Because if you willfully accept something, I'm game. Hey, you can believe whatever you want to believe, so long as you know that you're actively believing it, as opposed to just not challenging something.
Yeah.
It's a bit more. I mean, I used to put milk in my pot noodles. I still do if I'm feeling fancy, and that's because my nan used to do it so that it cooled down the pot noodle faster, like a cup of tea.
But not like. No,
do you know what I mean?
You already put water in it. Why not just put a bit of cold water in it?
No, because tea, mate. Like, a cup of tea, put hot water, you put a bit more milk in it. That's what my nan's process was.
To be fair, it would just make it a bit creamy. I don't think.
Yeah, and I only mainly did it with chicken and mushroom, which is obviously kind of meant to be goes with cream
anyway. Yeah,
and it didn't make it too much creamier, but it did. Yeah, it's just like, oh, all right, I can do this. And then when I tell people, when people make me pot noodle, and I say, "Where's the milk?" They were like, what? I was like, well, you've lived your whole life not challenging the world. Why not put milk in your pot noodle? You sheep. I was a renegade. But so long as you willfully follow something, I think it's fine. But I think it's definitely, the people want to be led, people want to be told what to do, but that's just the majority of people. And if you're a part of the majority, then I think you're going to do that. Yeah. But it's more fun to be step one. I'm liking the phrase step one. Feels like a good mantra, or feels like a good title or a segment or a show.
Yeah.
Step one sounds powerful.
In other short
news. Yeah, or initiating step one, you know what I mean? So what's going on today? Step one. I've got two short news here, two bits of short news. A young woman has tried to adopt her friend.
Has she not succeeded? Against the friend's will.
Well, it's a whole long and serious article about, I think her friend is in a care home and has somewhat of a disability. So instead of having a carer, she's like, I'll be her carer, but I'll also be her guardian, essentially. Right. But I like the idea that you can, one, if you're looking for friends, you can just go adopt one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how, can you imagine adopting me?
It would be pretty nuts if you came to me one day and were just like, Steve, you're adopted. I'm like, what? No,
I own you now.
By me.
You're coming to live with me now, Steve.
Yeah. I am your legal guardian.
It feels like another thing about the world that maybe you should challenge.
Yeah.
Just own your friends.
Well, why can't I adopt him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a responsible adult. They're unaware. Let's do it.
Yeah.
This was in Russia, and I think, there's a whole thing about care homes, so I think the person had special requirements, and the person was like, hey, we get along great. How do I get you out of this facility and into my house? Oh, I can adopt you. Fair enough. And in other news, similar news, Ed Sheeran is sponsoring a football team.
All right.
But I like it because it means that on their shirts, it's going to be like, Ed Sheeran.
That's confusing. And Ed Sheeran passed the ball to Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran running up the field.
Yeah, you've always assumed it's going to be corporations, like Nike or something like that.
Yeah,
but no, it's just going to be a picture of Ed. This is life now. He just sponsors. It's his local football team that he's supported, and he's just like, I want to financially support them. I'll sponsor them.
How many of those guys are already sick of Ed Sheeran and now they've got to have him on their shirt?
Yeah, I mean, what's the crowd chants are all going to be? I don't know any Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
But like, oh, they're going to be Ed Sheeran songs, which I seem to remember not enjoying Ed Sheeran very much. Feels like a younger thing, but I haven't really listened to him very much. And that's it. That's a few quick news. Jesus Christ, I've got quite a lot of articles, but I'll figure out if I can cut some down. A coastal town in Japan is facing criticism after it spent emergency funds intended for coronavirus measures on a giant statue of a squid.
I did briefly see that. Yeah.
In order to promote tourism, which is, not a thing right now.
No, but I mean, if they'll. Maybe it's like an investment. Well, it'll bring people to the town. Oh, where's that stupid town that bought squid with all the money they were meant to give to those dying people? It's like, well,
yeah, it's good. Take a photo of the graves.
Yeah, it's over. It's over here, and now more people will come to our town because we've got, Jerry the squid.
Hey, he's 13 meters long.
Jerry the COVID squid.
Yeah. Rest in peace, the families, the victims. Apparently you can take a photo inside the statue. A local woman in her 60s told the Chunichi, which I think is like a local paper, that she could see how the statue could boost tourism in the long run, but thought the money would have been better spent on medical workers and nursing care services that are in desperate need of support. That's a fair comment.
Yeah.
But someone really wanted that squid. So fair enough. In other news,
it's a good move. I'll go with it.
Yeah. Who needs, vulnerably healthy people when you can get rid of those and bring in the squid?
They're all going to die anyway. The squid's not going to die.
Squid lives forever. Belgian farmer accidentally moved to the French border this week.
Ah, you fuck. I've only got 3 stories, and that was one of them.
So yeah, for those who aren't in the know, a farmer in Belgium got inconvenienced by the border stone of France, and so moved it so that his tractor could get around a bit easier. A local history enthusiast was walking in the forest when he noticed the stone marking. He, apparently annoyed by the stone, moved it inside French territory. Instead of causing international uproar, the incident has been met with smiles on both sides of the border. He made Belgium bigger and France smaller. It's not a good idea, said the mayor of the Belgian village who was bordering. It's not a good idea. Just invade France.
Yeah.
It's worked in the past, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, worked great for Napoleon.
Yeah, and the Germans, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole big thing.
It says,
I think that was all I had on that.
If he fails to put it back, the Belgian Foreign Ministry will be forced to summon the Franco-Belgian Border Commission, which has been dormant since 1930. I would assume they're all dead.
That sounds a lot like the Mummy. Like he's going to summon. He's going to summon them from beyond the grave.
Yeah. Well, the only people that can dispute
and they'll continue
are the Council of Elders of the Franco-Belgian Border Commission.
Yeah,
so
the Cave Rescue Committee.
Let's just get this sorted. Can't we just move the stone? No. You had your chance.
No, necromancy. It's the only answer. In other news, I've only got a few left. A London woman was killed in Pakistan by 2 men who wanted to marry her.
Well,
weird wedding.
Well, if I can't have her, then no one can have her.
Sadly, that is the case, but I read it as they were trying to marry her and murdered her by accident.
Oh, right, okay.
That's how I read it. Like they're trying to, they're saying their vows, but they're accidentally, activating their Alexa smart home gun turrets that gun down the whole, thing or something like that. But it was 2 men fighting over the marriage of a woman, and pretty much if I can't have you, no one can, which is very. I can't relate to it because I've never been a jealous person, but I'm assuming it's that energy, right, of jealousy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
I've loved rejection from a young age. I've never really found rejection to be bad.
It's kind of half jealousy, but the other half of it is kind of hurt pride over. I guess over finding out that someone prefers someone else to you.
Yeah, But I've never felt it. But it's genuine. It's a thing. I always like to try and relate to the insane emotional reactions. And I guess you can definitely get so angry that you kill somebody. And I reckon you could probably get so angry that you could kill somebody that you love. But someone that you're trying to seduce? Because that's what's going on, right? They're trying to seduce her.
Yeah.
And end up, well, fuck this, I'll just shoot you in the neck. She was found with 2 bullet wounds, one in her neck and one in her arm, and bled to death. Also, there were bruises on her right hand and left foot. I don't know how relevant that is. She was shot in the neck. But she had some bruises as well. It's harsh. But yeah, if you're trying to marry someone, don't kill her. It's my advice.
Yeah.
Step 1, don't murder.
We're going into phase 1. Step 1, don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah, don't. The first step of seduction is not murder.
No.
And in similar, this is again the American thing. A 24-year-old reporter in Kansas City died after being hit by a stray bullet coming through the window of her apartment. This goes into like what we talked about last week about like a woman was walking along under a parking garage and got suicide murdered
by the guy that
just
jumped.
Just jumped from a 9th floor window, whatever, and crushed her to death. You just go like, life is so random. There's no way to prepare for that. It's just life sometimes doesn't give a fuck. And it's like when you're just doing your own business and a bullet comes through your window.
Yeah.
Like, she was about to start a new job as a criminal justice and social issues reporter. So it's worse than that. She knew that there were social issues and crime in her area.
Yeah.
And was like getting ready to start work and just got shot.
But
fucking insane.
I have heard of that happening a lot in areas of like high gun crime, of just stray bullets.
Yeah. Well, it's another one of those things where if everyone's got guns, I mean, try and think of when you were a kid, right? I mean, if you were a kid, let's say you made a bow and arrow, say, or a toy BB gun, right? And you're firing it in a field. Even if you made a target range, if you're a kid, you're still likely to miss the target range and go off somewhere, or accidentally misfire, or fire something as a joke, or whatever. It might not be like a drive-by or someone getting murdered. It could just be accidental discharge.
Yeah.
But living in a world where you could just get hit by a random bullet is insane.
Kind of.
But it's part of the thing. The young reporter was rushed to hospital. She was it's a heartfelt piece. I don't have a heart, so it's like I've skipped all that out. But she was rushed to hospital after being found unresponsive by her colleague. She was passed out and never regained consciousness, I guess, because of blood loss, right?
Blood loss or something, yeah.
And then, just injury and shit like that. It fucking sucks. Oof. But I think you take for granted, the fact that we don't have guns and the ramifications of that. Of like just stupid things like bullets coming through windows. You're like, that's just not sort of reality that we even have to remotely think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a weird one. But yeah, that's me this week.
All right. Well, I've got 2 left. John Cox, the Republican candidate running for election as governor of California this autumn, is on the campaign trail alongside a 1,000-pound grizzly bear. I'm John Cox.
That's a super election.
And this is my bear.
Is that better or worse than is he now like Lord Binface or something, isn't he?
Is that
thing running? It was called something different before.
Lord Buckethead.
Yeah, and now I think he's Lord Binface, or maybe it's like a copycat or somebody else. But there's a Conservative candidate, I think, running in London, whose platform is against COVID-19, or its primary campaign is against the restrictions or something like that. And he's competing with, and I think he's never been political before.
No, it's
and he
Lawrence
was like
Fox.
Someone else.
It's he's an actor.
I remember him having like no background, and then it's like, I'm just going to start doing this.
Yeah, well,
I think he's in the same county.
Suicided. I don't know. He suicided his career on Question Time because somebody said something incredibly woke, and he just said, "No, I don't agree with it." And he was instantly like just dropped from everything and called a transphobe and all the isms and all of that shit.
Right.
So he's like, well, since then he's just been like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll just run for office, because there's obviously a lot of people that agree with me, and a lot of people do agree with him. So yeah, it's but a lot of his thing is about the COVID, a lot of the COVID-19 restrictions. I think particularly in London, because some of the things that Sadiq Khan has been implementing or suggesting have been different to other places in the country. Plus the idea of COVID passports and all of that stuff. But on the whole, it's just a kind of anti-woke campaign of free speech and all of that stuff, which I'm all for.
There is I remember is an article where he was campaigning against or in the same county as Captain Binface or Lord Binface, whatever it is, and I think it is the Buckethead guy is like his new iteration, or maybe it's something like that. But yeah, I think would you rather be running against a grizzly bear or Buckethead or Binhead? I think I'd rather run against Buckethead. I think the bear could grab more votes.
I think so. Yeah, I think if it's like
that dog that became mayor of a town.
Yeah, that's just it.
Bears
it's
are just more ambitious.
A dog is at least an approachable thing, but like if you vote a bear into office, like you're not going to get him out.
Well, just you can imagine the televised debates being very one way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so what do you think, Bear? Bear kills everybody. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. It's democracy.
Point. He's won. I mean, he's not competing against anybody anymore.
There's no one here, so he must have won.
He said something about picnic baskets. They lived in a volcano national park, right? Yogi Bear and
he
was in Yosemite or something.
Camp Jellystone or something, wasn't it? Camp Jelly.
Yeah, Yellowstone.
But his was Jellystone, I think.
Yeah,
because
just a
cartoons.
more family-friendly volcano, I guess.
Yeah, and acid pits. That's the most fucked up thing. Don't step in the acid pit.
Have you ever made jelly?
What do you mean?
As an individual, you ever like cooked something with jelly in it? Like, you seemed very upset when we was at uni and I would just eat raw jelly.
Oh, right.
You're like, that's weird.
I knew lots of people that ate raw jelly. People have been doing that since I was in high school.
Have you like made it? Like turned it into its looser form? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just boil it. What, you put it on your sandwich or something?
You just water it down with hot water, and then when it sets again in the fridge, it's a big jelly.
Yeah, but why? What do you use it for?
For eating with a spoon, generally.
As an independent snack.
Yeah.
Jelly.
Did you never have jelly at school?
No.
No, it was a dessert for us. Like we'd have like a little plastic tray of jelly, and you could have like ice cream with it. Jelly and ice cream, it's banging.
No. But the texture's
You're diabetic. You should be all over this.
I ate it raw. That's more condensed jelly. That's a whole bowl of jelly in a brick. That's why I'm diabetic.
You can just make it. You can make it last longer.
Yeah, or I can get more sugar. That's why I drank so much water. I had to dilute the jelly that I'm completely containing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think.
But so the bear is running for office. We're running for mayor of California.
But the Republican candidate took him out on the trail with him. It's part of.
Don't listen to me if I've got a bear.
Yeah, I guess so. The brand strategy is thought to have been developed by Fred Davis, the ad maker who in the past depicted political rivals as demonic sheep and in one instance a blimp.
Don't vote for him.
He's a blimp. Oh, he's a genius.
Yeah,
he's a genius.
This guy's the best of the best.
He called a guy a blimp. Take the bear. Just do it.
Yeah. Whatever he says. Take a bear, take a landmine. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Have fun. Have fun with it. Step one, take the bear.
He's a guy running against Gavin Newsom, the fucktard that's like ruined California. It's part of this thing of like I think he's called it the Beauty and the Beast campaign or something. Like you voted for it because like Gavin Newsom's like a typically kind of like handsome guy, but there's not really a lot else going on because he's a fucking idiot.
Right.
So his thing is like, well, I'm a beast, and you can tell I'm a beast because I've got a bear.
You looking for proof?
Yeah. What we need is a beast, not a beauty. Like, all right. I mean, look, the guy's a douchebag, but I don't know anything about you, and can we just vote for the bear?
Only I can prevent forest fires, so I think maybe I should vote for the bear.
And then a load of animal rights campaigners came in and were just like, what you're doing to that bear is horrible. And it's like, so apparently the bear is like, it was found as an orphan at a young age, and it has no idea how to hunt or feed itself in any way. So it's complete.
But it has a great understanding of water requirements in Northern California.
Yes, yeah, it's a great, well-rounded, libertarian view of the political system.
Yeah, it's got a great point of view on the transit system.
Yeah.
We need more trams and less buses.
Yeah.
All right, bear.
Because I can't fit on a bus.
I never thought about that, but I'd never considered bear. The whole, I can't remember the name of it. He had a name, right? The bear that said, "Don't start forest fires." Some specific bear brand or something.
Because it's such an American thing. We don't really have forest fires over here. It rains too much.
But that's another weird thing about America is it's always on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's another thing that you don't really think about because it happens in an area of America, right? But it's like a real thing that you have to budget for.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine. I'm not shitting on America. It's another one of those things where it's just like, there's so many things that you don't challenge or you don't focus on. And you're like, it's always on fire. And there's stray bullets coming through windows and there's schools being shot and there's, crime and all this kind of stuff. You just go like, it's just weird to jot down on a bit of paper the intention to go live in the fire planet or the fire country. It's just like, it's just part of life you have to budget for. My house might burn down in a forest fire. Okay. I might just get shot in the neck by a stray bullet as I'm doing my taxes. Like, Jesus Christ. The chances are so low, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Think of a whole house. If a bullet's pretty small, right? I'm assuming it was a small bullet and not a bullet the size of a house. Right? So it's like the chances of it hitting somebody in the square footage of a normal house is so small. But still happens.
Yeah.
That's it hitting the house at all. It's crazy. Sorry, bears running for political office. We're all for it.
Yeah.
Bears will be against guns.
Bear, step one. In other news, and finally, a mountain rescue expedition in Snowdonia was ended abruptly when what were thought to be repeated cries for help were discovered to be a herd of bleating mountain goats.
Bleeding mountain goats coming over here. Complaining, pretending they're stuck down a mine shaft.
Yeah.
Stuck in a mountain. Help! Help!
A climber on Idwal Slabs in Snowdonia reported hearing repeated shouts for help to Ogwen Valley Mountain Rescue Organisation. They said it sent in a team, then spoke to a group of workers on Twildoo. How do you pronounce anything in Welsh? Who said that goats have been bleating behind them. This proves that the goats are onto us, the team posted on social media. They've evolved their tactics to include human decoys to improve their chances of deploying the team on false alarms.
This is true.
That was their only statement.
It's a conspiracy. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Goatspiracy. Things are pretty boring in Wales, I guess, at the minute.
Well, I guess especially for like rescue teams where people shouldn't be out and about. I guess there's going to be less calls.
It's just a great natural troll that the thing that lives in a place where humans might really need to be rescued sounds like it's screaming for help.
And they just like they've done it so much because they like the attention.
Yeah. Help!
Have you seen Terry recently and his flying, I don't know, moss, whatever reference point they've got for a helicopter? It's like, it gets a bit windy when Dave comes around.
Yeah.
It's good Dave round. Oh, help.
Help.